start by asking, Wayne, when you look at where the world of CSR is, forgetting social enterprise from, where does it stand? There's so many, I hear so many things. Somebody was telling me 4.0, 4.5, etc. Yeah, how do you look at CSR today? Or maybe should we forget it and just focus on social enterprise?
It's interesting with future fitness. Because when you speak to a company about CSR, it's immediately put in a box. So there's a CSR department, a CSR manager. It's something that gets taken care of on the side, and that's one of the reasons why it fails to really change problems. The other one that I'm perhaps even more interested in is the idea of integrated value. I believe in terms of the evolution of CSR that we're now in the decade. If you trace back these concepts, CSR was really a concept in the 1960s. 1970s we had business ethics and environmental management come in. 1980s we had stakeholder theory and sustainability come in. 1990s was mainly about corporate governance. Also corporate accountability sort of came in the early 2000s, so that was a lot about the reporting movement. I think this decade, the 2010s, if you like, is all about changing our concept and our measures of value creation.
Do you notice if at all, as part of the research, certain peculiarities that emerging markets, emerging economies, transition economies, or developing economies would have vis-a-vis the, I suppose, the base of the research would be on the developed side?
But actually, if you look at implicit CSR, where it's more informal, what I think we've found is that a lot of the innovation is coming out of developing countries, because they don't have all of those structures and all of those codes and standards that are forcing them to act a certain way. So when it comes to social enterprise and social entrepreneurship, we find a lot of our cases emerging in developing countries.
In my own experience, of course, it's the dynamic of how you think about social enterprise and marrying it with business. How do you marry the social impact with business? So in my case, I really came from the more development-oriented side. I'm a community person, I like to volunteer, although I came from business school. However, my teammates, hardcore business, Chinese business kids, grew up helping the family business at age 2 years old. So money is always the most important thing. And we've had several arguments in different years, whether to focus on community or to focus on business. And it was a very quite traumatic experience for a young person to be exposed to those kinds of initiatives, arguments. But it really was very formative as well.
What we need is to change people, the way people are seeing the world and understanding the world. So more and more I'm seeing in business schools around the world, now to 74 countries, and we're seeing that they're introducing these experiential learning things where you take people, put them out in the community, or to create a social enterprise, or to just to be in a space where they feel uncomfortable and they have to make some change happen.
If you put somebody who has innovated and has got an entrepreneurial spirit into a program that requires to volunteer, that might kill there's a danger to killing the enthusiasm as well. So you can put somebody to volunteer for a long time somewhere, but is that really good? So it's a matter of having choice and having options how to accelerate the idea to the point of making it sustainable. And so maybe for your foundation would be, what can we set up to guide these people or to empower them and enable them to get the idea rolling?
We've seen a lot of companies fail because they haven't treated social responsibility or ethics or sustainability as a strategic issue. And we know that the life of companies is very short. You know, not many companies survive beyond 20 years, actually. If you look at the statistics. So that's the one side in speaking to boards, is to look at the risks associated now with not taking these things into account.
Let's not forget that social entrepreneurship is a movement. It's a form of activism, and young people express their activism through these ideas because they want to change the world, and that's the enthusiasm that we need to buy from. The other thing is the generation gap. Us sitting in this boardroom, maybe probably in 50s, we think differently. The young people think differently. They are reinventing the way they're doing business. So we've got lots to learn, and we can't push or the ideas that we believe in or the values we believe in to them. We have to find a way how can we communicate and potentially take their ideas how to do business.
One thing I realized as an educator is that we've got to go back again to the basics of questioning of who we really are as persons.
This idea also that
We've got to go back to that because I know we have some leadership programs, we have implemented it, only to discover, gosh, the mindset is different. No amount of convincing, it's just that they're doing it just because they need to survive my business. I need to be relevant to society. But there should be something deeper than that. And of course, we're looking at models of leadership at the moment. And some models of leadership needs to be refined, rectified.
The business people, the boardroom Catholic business, is totally disassociated with the CSR or only putting some people. But there is a separate group that has not the CSR for them. I don't know if that is an advantage or a disadvantage. That's why most graduates are totally focused on business and not on the CSR because there's a different group or a different set of people that handles that particular subject. So I don't know if that is an advantage or a disadvantage.
I think it's why we're failing, right? Because it's not integrated. What they find is absolute consensus. Both generations believe that business has a social purpose in addition to economics. So this idea that we have to convince CEOs that they have to be, making a positive social impact is not true. The difference is that current leaders, 9 out of 10 current leaders, think they're already delivering that social purpose. And only 2 out of 10 future leaders believe that business is currently delivering. So there's this massive expectations gap. The current board members and so on think they're doing a great job. And actually the younger people think they're doing a terrible job. And that's why, this trust in business is so low. It's because, again, if you're caught in that ideology of short-term shareholder maximization, capitalism, that model of capitalism, you're not going to convince young people that there's a heart to business or a soul to business.
One by one we go, but if we are able to prepare our youth, and those youth will prepare the batches below them, and it will become a continuous process, then I think somehow we're able to sustain CSR.
There are a few things that are clear. One is chance is a big thing. Chance to have met certain people, to have been exposed to certain things, etc. The second one is something happened with their education. There was a teacher or some classmate or organization who persuaded them that maybe volunteering was good and so on. That kind, of course, is hard to imagine, but these are unusual people. They take their problems, their opportunities, and they somehow focus it on something positive.
The way that you responded to societal problems was to be generous. So you weren't questioned on how you made your money so long as you were generous with giving it away, whether as a private rich leader or as a company. And so we got the Bill Gates of the world, or even going back to Rockefeller.
Oh, you're talking about the robber barons. That's a little different.
We could debate that, but and I think that just isn't credible anymore with young people. Young people, what they see is a company often making its money in an unethical way, or in a way that, let's just say, has a big negative impact on the environment or on society. Maybe they're using, cheap labor, or they, have massive carbon emissions, or something like contributing to climate change, and they just are not convinced that a bit of generosity by that company makes up for the negative impact. And that's why we're saying, it's got to be integrated. It's got to be, is the company using its products, its services, its core business to be a positive force for change in society, and only then are those young people convinced and they want to work there.
Just remember, people who are unhappy will create problems for society. And you better do your part in trying to remove that unhappiness.
There's this saying when we talk about the business case for CSR, the basic idea is business can't succeed in a society that fails.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
The idea is just, any social enterprise, the idea is just for it not to become profitable, but to be viable. There's a big difference between being profitable and being viable.
Yeah. What I see is that there are 5 forces of fragmentation in society. And so CSR or sustainability should be tackling those forces of fragmentation and turning them into forces of integration. So the forces of fragmentation are disruption, so whether that's through natural disasters or conflict or pandemics or industrial accidents or market crises. Disruption is one. Disconnection is one. So people are not connected either through relationships or through technology. Then you've got fragmentation. The third is disparity. So if you've got inequality in society, that's when people get unhappy, that's when people turn into extremists. So is inequality getting better or worse? Destruction is the fourth one, and that's obviously the ecosystems that we're losing. And the final one is discontent, which is about the individual and whether we feel fragmented in ourselves or whether we're actually, have health and well-being. And so that's another way to look at CSR, is to say, is it making a difference in those 5 areas? The one thing I've just been reflecting as we've been talking, we haven't said much about is the role of government in social responsibility. And where I see some of the biggest failures is the lack of the right policy incentives. So, how can we get to sustainability if the government incentives are all wrong? And we see this not only in the Philippines, but all over the show. The government policies are what are making it more expensive, more difficult to be sustainable or to be responsible. So somehow we need to tackle that also in our business schools, in our education, is how do we do positive lobbying to change policy in the right direction? How do we create not only business leaders, but government leaders who understand sustainability? It seems to me like a major barrier we have to deal with.